Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and welcome to everyone from all over the country and all over the world. We are so glad to have you here. I'm going to start by letting you know, and I'm going to repeat this a little later as people are coming in, but I'm going to start by letting you know that there's something wrong with our front camera. It's being a little bit weird. Let me turn that down. This is telling me that I should go live right now. Thank you. Thank you, phone. I am live. So there's something wrong with it. It's just getting old like us, Tom, and it's tired like us. So we did actually just buy a new camera, and it's sitting off to the side of the camera we're using. We needed a special connector. So we're going to be playing with that and testing that out later on today and tonight. But right now we are stuck with this camera. So that being said, if the picture drops out, don't freak out. Don't leave. Just stay there. Tom has to jiggle this cord because the connector something's wrong with it, and I'll be back. So just hang in there. You might see little glitches now and then. It's always something, right? But we're making progress. We're doing our best, and so are all of you, right? And that's all we can do every day is get up and do our best. So today, my friend Kathy Rakusin hosts something called the 30-Day Coloring Challenge. This time, it's the 10-day coloring challenge. She switched it up a little bit because 30 days was a long time for some people and also for her. It's a lot of work to do her full blown out coloring the way she does it. Oh my word, it's so beautiful. Every single day for 30 days. So she decided to do more challenges, but for little shorter stints of time. So if you haven't followed her, you can head over to Instagram and type in Kathy Rack, Kathyrac, and find her Instagram account and follow her. She has a new coloring piece every day for 10 days, and then she encourages you to color along with her. Now, she's a firm believer, and I've been to several of her events that she's hosted as well. She's a firm believer that everybody should do something creative for 10 minutes a day. It's good for our brains. It's good for our minds. It just mentally gives us a break from everything else. And coloring is one of those things. So I thought today I would do a coloring technique for all of you guys. And maybe you could try this and play along with her challenge. If you're not on Instagram, she also has a Facebook page called, I think her group is called the 30-Day Coloring Challenge. If not, check out the Daily Marker. So those are a couple options for you. But the technique I want to show you today is called Inset Coloring. And this is a really fun way to do just a little bit of coloring on a card, but still be able to use a full, beautiful floral image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my Misty stamping tool, and here it is. And then I'm going to show you the stamp set that we're going to use today for this, this card project. So what I'm going to be using here is I'm going to be using this one. This is by Arjita Singh. She's one of our illustrators, and this one is called Heartfelt Bouquet. One of her more recent stamp sets with us. I love this one. I did a card using the rubber band technique using these two images. And today I'm going to use this giant floral image. Now this image might be intimidating to some people because it's so big, but you know, this is where this technique comes in. And I think you're going to really like how you could just take a portion of this and color it and make it look beautiful. And depending on how much time you have to color, you can alter the size of the inset piece. All right. So the one thing that we definitely want to do is we want to cut down 2 pieces of cardstock to be an even size with each other and to be the size that we want to use for this technique. So I'm going to get my little We Are Memory Keepers paper cutter here, and I'm going to cut these pieces down. So I'm going to cut a white piece down to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. Now I actually tried this technique just to make sure it was what I wanted it to be, and I showed it to Tom, and he had a really good idea how to change it up a little bit. So we're actually using part of Tom's technique. Thank you, Tom.
Hey.
So we're going to cut this gray piece down to the same measurements, 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. This is Tom's contribution to the technique. Now, I've made this card the other way, so I'll be able to show it to you both ways. But I really think his way is going to be even better. So kudos to Tom. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with, I have the Misty Corner. Now, if you don't have the Misty Corners, this is a really great little tool to use because it actually gets your piece of cardstock away from the rest of these edges here. This way, if your stamp goes outside of this piece of cardstock, you know, if you have it tucked away into the corner like this and you want to lay the stamp outside, it's going to go up a hill. But if you have the Misty Corners, that allows you to cascade your stamp outside of the corners. Now, I don't know that I'm going to need that, so I'm going to try it and see what happens here. All right. I'll give you a better example once I get this stamp off of the sheet. So we're using this giant stamp here, this one here. And good morning and welcome, everyone. It is great to see all of you. So for example, let's just say I wanted to place this stamp here. Obviously, I can't, right? Because that's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to make contact with the paper. It's going to squish the stamp. But if I use the Misty Corner and then I put my cardstock in there, then I can go outside of that cut paper. That's one of the things that makes the Misty Corner so great. And I don't know that I'm going to need that today because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, got a little something on my cardstock there. I don't know what that is. Well, I got something here too. Let's just erase that using the Mono Sand Eraser because I don't know what that is. Okay. So I'm going to place this right here, cascading right across the whole center of the card like that. Okay. And for those of you that just joined us, we are having some camera difficulties. If the camera jumps out, don't freak out. Tom will fix it and we'll be right back in. We are changing out the camera because this is not something we enjoy. All right, so I'm going to stamp this image in black onyx. So let me ink up this stamp with black onyx. Okay. And I'm going to use my Chalky tool to help put pressure on it. See, I need a little bit more inking there, so I'm glad I'm using the Misty for this. This is such a big stamp. It's so much easier to actually use the Misty when it comes to these big stamps. Just going right in that area. There we go. Okay, so now I have a good impression. So I'm going to take this piece of cardstock out. And now I'm going to put this gray piece in the same spot. And I'm going to use my tidy towel to clean the stamp. I want to get all that black ink off of it. Now I'm going to use a lighter color. And this is Tom's idea. I'm just putting that out there in case it doesn't work out. I'm going to blame you, okay? So I'm using, here we go. I'm using Stormy Sky. And I'm going to ink this stamp up with Stormy Sky. And the cardstock I'm using is Soft Stone. So I'm going to do a gray look here. And I'm going to stamp that, again, using the Chucky tool to get a nice impression. I'm going to stamp it a second time. Just because I want to get a little more of that gray in the center. Even though I'm not going to see the center, but you know, I got to see it right. Okay, so you can see now I have two duplicate images, one gray and gray, one black and white. Now I'm going to clean this stamp again and I'm going to get rid of it. And then I'm going to use some of the smaller stamps from this set to fill in the areas that don't have any images on them. So I'm going to take this leaf and I'm going to place it here like this. And I'm going to place this one here like that. Okay. And then I'm going to pick this up again using the Misty. Well, that was dumb. Did you guys see that? Make sure you take your top sheet off. Or it's going to stick to the top sheet instead. Let's do that again a second time. Oh my word. I don't even have the cowboy book out and I'm already losing concentration. Okay, there we go. I know you're all waiting for a cowboy reference today, right? Okay, so again, I'm starting this one with the gray because I still have the gray cardstock in here. So I'm going to use the Stormy Sky. I'm going to stamp that there. Okay. And then I'm going to get rid of this here and I'm going to put the black piece, black and white piece in. And I'm going to use some black onyx ink. Now I don't really have to clean this stamp because I'm not going from a dark color to a light color. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay down the black. Okay. So now I'm filling in around the perimeter here. All right, I'm going to clean this off and I'm going to show you how to get that off. You could, I don't know if you can see that, but it's staining that a little bit purple. I'll show you how to get that off when we're all done. All right, let's go back to the gray piece again. I'll turn it upside down this time. And I'm going to fill in over here using those same stamps. There we go. Now we're using the gray ink this time. The cowboy book is my new favorite excuse too, Carol. I use it for everything. Put the wrong thing in a recipe, it was the cowboy book. Forget to do the laundry, cowboy book. All right. Order something online at Kohl's, cowboy book. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure that my card is the same orientation and I'm going to slip the black and white one into the MISTI and I'm going to stamp in black. Now, of course, you could find a different stamp to do this with. If you had a big background stamp that was a floral, you'd be able to do this all in one pass. But I really love this stamp set and I love to color this flower. So I'm just filling in those areas so that it looks more like a background stamp. Okay, let's go back to the gray one again. And we're just going to add a couple more little images here. And the reason why I'm not doing this with a block is just in case any of these images show up in the piece that I'm going to cut away. And you'll understand a little bit better once I show you the next step. Hello, hello, and welcome everyone who's just joining us. Now you can see I've got stamps spread around there, but that's okay. I'm going to use the gray. That got away from me. There we go. And then before you change the stamps, make sure you do the same thing. Now remember, I just pulled this out in this orientation, so I have to have my cardstock in the same orientation. All right, checking that. Yep. Now I'm going to use the black on these same two stamps. And I'm going to fill in, I think, one more little area. And I like having just the leaves around the outside. I think it looks really pretty with just those leaves cascading around. Okay, so we'll add something there and something up there. Alrighty. So I hope you guys are all having a good day. It got cold again here in Wisconsin. I don't know what is going on, but yesterday I left the house in my flip-flops like I usually do. I'm going to use the Misty Corner for this. Nah, that's not going to even work. I'll do this one at a time. I know, here we go. So I went out with my flip-flops on, just like I have been doing, and it was 38 degrees out there. What happened to spring? All my tulips are blooming, and it was 38 degrees. I nearly died. You know what? I'm going to put this Misty Corner down here. No, I'm not. See, this is stamping on the fly. You guys know that this is all happening live. I have no idea really what I'm doing, which makes this all the more fun. Okay, back to the gray for this. Yeah, I should have turned it around. You're right. And now it's too late because I'm already in, but that filled that in nicely. So same orientation and do it with black. So I hope you guys are starting to warm up wherever you are. I know some of you live in very warm places and you're probably already sweating, but here we are not sweating. We are still a little bit chilly. All right, I'm gonna take your advice now and turn it around. So we're going back this way and we're gonna fill in right here. I'll use this stamp right there like that. This is my last one. This is a kind of a fun way to create your own background stamps, adding small stamps to a large one. You can see that looks pretty full. Same thing. It's real obvious now where that empty spot is, and black onyx for this. Now, I don't even know if I'm going to see any of this on my finished card, but just in case, I would hate to not have it there. So even if you think it's not going to show, and you'll see what I mean in just a little bit, you know, go ahead and put it there anyway. Now, something like this, I'll just show you this. Something like way up here on the edge. For that, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just, you know, go ahead and take any stamp and just stamp it in the gray. It's not going to make a difference, really, because that definitely isn't going to show when I cut my white piece down. Okay, because it's so far close to the edge. Now, I want to show you real quick how I clean my Misty, because you can see it's kind of purple. And if you've ever had your Misty stained purple and you think you can't get it off, it's very, very easy to get off. You can use Gina K Design Stamp Cleaner, but if you don't have that, just use a little Purell hand sanitizer. I put it right on my tidy towel, and it'll just take that purple right off. You can put a little right on your Misty if you want. And it won't hurt. This is the Misty mouse pad, so it won't hurt it at all. You can also clean your door with hand sanitizer or alcohol. If you've got a little alcohol spray bottle, you can use that. It gets all that ink off and cleans it really nicely. I think by the time I get to my how to clean things video, I will show you guys how to clean everything, but that's all right. We'll still do it. It's going to be fun. Okay, so let me put this all aside. I put the wrong lid on my stormy sky. That would have been a disaster later. Okay, and now it is time to get to the next step. So what we're going to do next, instead of coloring this whole thing, we're going to cut this out first. Because why color the whole thing only to cut it out and use a portion of it? So let's figure out what we're actually going to need and do that. So let me back up a little bit. I am really close to you guys, so I will back up. All right. So here is my Spellbinders machine. Now I want to make sure that I get a good portion of this flower. So I'm going to cut this out using the Gina K Designs double-stitched rectangle, and then I'm going to cut a panel that will go behind it using the single-stitched rectangle. Okay, welcome everyone. It's okay if you're late. I know a lot of people work on Thursday. I know we have a lot of our European friends here and other parts of the world where normally you guys are asleep when I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down just a little bit. No, actually I'm not. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to get some purple tape because I want this to be really, really good and accurate. I'm going to cut this as, I'm going to center it the best that I can with my eyeballs. Like that. I want it to be right in the center. And then I'm going to use some purple tape to hold this die in place so it doesn't wiggle at all. So once we know that it's where we want it, and that looks pretty good, pretty even on both sides, top and bottom, I'm going to tape it down using some purple tape. You can use washi tape if you want. And it doesn't matter because this is we're not gonna use this. You can use it for another project later if you want. So if you wanna use the lower tack purple tape, that works really well. Okay, here we go. I'm cutting. Wish me luck. Okay. The name of this stamp set is Heartfelt Bouquet that I'm using. Okay. So there it is, and it does have the little stitched lines all around it. And this is the one that I'm going to use to color today. So you can see if you get your purple tape off of there without tearing, and that's pretty good. You can always use this as a pretty frame for another project, maybe a shaker card. You could stamp maybe another panel when you're doing that same technique, and then attach some acetate in there and use the other panel for the inside, making a shaker card. Could I show all the pieces to the Misty? I just received mine. It has a foam insert and paper pad with grid lines, no directions. Yes, you know, I do have a video on the Misty on my channel. All I got with my Misty was what you got: a magnet, a black pad, the paper with the grid lines, and the Misty. So you got everything that you were supposed to get. But what I bought for my Misty is I bought the Misty corners. That's these things. There's a couple different types of corners, one that you can use on a diagonal. And then I bought this mouse pad that has this area that you can clean so you don't have to use the grid paper. Some people take a piece of grid paper and laminate it, and that kind of makes the same kind of thing. But if you want the best videos for the Misty, go to My Sweet Petunia's YouTube channel, because that's who makes the Misty, and you will find the best videos out there on the Misty. Okay. Alrighty. So, you know what? I'm going to cut that other piece too before I totally get rid of this. I'm going to cut the black panel. Here's a black piece, and I'm going to cut that using the single stitched rectangle. And if you want to be able to use this black piece for the card, then just cut this single stitch rectangle out of the middle, because then you can still use the perimeter for your card. All right. Ooh, yes, welcome all the way from Ireland. It's great to see you. I'm so glad that you guys get a chance to join me for Stampin' Chat Live, and you don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning to do it. It's great to have you here. So you can see this single stitched rectangle works great with the double stitched rectangle to give you that cute little shadow layer. All right. So I'm going to put this aside too. Can use that a little bit later. And we will bring out this Spellbinders machine one more time to do our greeting stuff, but not right now. So now it's time to color. So let's zoom in. This is going to take a little while, but you know, it's okay. This is kind of relaxing and fun. So I have some Prismacolor pencils here, and quite often throughout the live, Tom gets asked, what color is that? What color is that? What color pencils is Gina using? So I just wrote them out right here for you. These are the colors that I'm using today. Excuse my chicken scratch handwriting. Hey, Christina Warner. I see Christina is here. You want to see beautiful handwriting? Tune into a Christina Warner video where she does hand lettering. Oh my word, that is something to see. All right, so I am going to use the Aquamarine pencil. So check. We're going to use that one first. And now I've got Christina watching on her elliptical. She's awesome. Christina, don't watch the way I color, because I know I don't color the way you do, which is because you do it right. I don't do it right, but I do it easy. So what I'm going to do here is I'm not paying any attention to light, because I don't know what that means. And I am not going to do any kind of fancy blending, because I don't know how to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to just take my Prismacolor pencil, and I am going to color close to the bottom of each of these petals. Now, if you want to learn coloring techniques and you want to learn how to do it right, go to YouTube and look up Christina Warner, Star of May, and watch her coloring videos. Go to YouTube and check out Kathy Rakusin, The Daily Marker. They will teach you how to see light, how to, color beautifully. If you are a crafter and you just want to get some color on your flower and you want to make it look like you think you know what you're doing, follow me.
The double and single stitch rectangles, a master layout, do they come together as a set?
The double and single stitched rectangles do not come together as part of a set. It's not a master layout set. It's part of our shape die collection. We have ovals in both single and double stitched. We have rectangles, circles, and squares in that collection. That was really actually some of our very first dies that we released in the shape world. And I released those initially for ThermoWeb. And then after ThermoWeb discontinued them, I added them to our own collection because people still like them and I still use them. I've been using them for years and years and years. You can watch any of my videos and I mean, probably 9 out of 10 videos, I am grabbing for one of those dies. So if you like following me and you like replicating my cards and you like, replicating them exactly the way I do them and you want the same stuff, it won't be a bad purchase for you because I use them so often that you're going to get a lot of use out of them. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of adding color to the bottom of each petal where it appears to be growing out of the flower, right? So here I'm doing it at the top, but like for these petals down here, I'm coming in from here and the petals going downward. And I know that a lot of you are very good at coloring because I see what you post in our Facebook group. And so this might be a little bit, boring to watch, but we could always talk about the cowboy book again because that's not boring at all. Oh, my goodness. So, Tom, have you seen anybody from work pop into the live today?
No, they must be busy.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good. I heard that some of the girls from work were thinking about popping in on the video and just saying hello. But if they're busy, that means they're busy getting your orders out. And I would much rather them be getting your orders out than saying hello to me because I will be seeing them in a couple hours as soon as I'm done this video. And as soon as I finish editing my photos, I'll be heading into work. So I'll be able to see them then. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. Coloring this. And then what I'm going to use is a blending stump to blend these. Now I want to tell you about the blending stumps that I use. So first of all, let me just go back a step. I also love this pencil sharpener here. This is the iPoint Orbit pencil sharpener. I got this. It's battery operated. I take it camping with me. I take it to the couch when I want to color. I just take it anywhere with me and it's really convenient to use. My friend Karen Hightower gave me this same pencil sharpener in an electric version, which is more powerful and has a metal casing where the battery operated one has a plastic casing. That one is better. So if you have a specific work area that has an outlet nearby, I recommend getting the electric one. But if you like to move about and you go places like camping or to the park, or you like to just sit out back in your yard and color, then get the battery operated one. And I think they have it at Simon Says Stamp. You can also get it at other places, Amazon, Costco, some of those places. And my guess is that a lot of your local brick and mortar stores have them too now because I've been recommending these for a long time. And I know some of the brick and mortar stores that carry our line will also watch my videos and, they'll check out what I recommend and then they'll carry the products too so that you can get them locally and support your local store. So thank you for all the kind words and your willingness to sit and watch me do this. And thanks, Christina. I love this turquoise color too. It's my color, right, girl? Because everything that I have, you should see me when I go to a stamping retreat. Like my pencil case is turquoise, my everything. My cup is turquoise that I drink out of. I have a lot of turquoise. It's a problem for me. I wonder if they make turquoise cowboy hats. Tom, would you wear one?
A turquoise
cowboy hat, yeah. He's not a cowboy, guys. He's just not a cowboy. All right, so I have this little dish here, and inside this dish, I have Gamsol. So this is Gamsol. I got my Gamsol at Hobby Lobby. You can get it at local art stores. You can also get it online. And this is what I use to blend. Now, I want to show you something else because I know there's people out there that say, oh, I can't use Gamsol. It's hard on me. It's a chemical. I can't be around chemicals. Gamsol is an odorless mineral spirits. It's an artist grade odorless mineral spirits. Please don't run to the hardware store and buy Gamsol there. It's not the same. Not Gamsol, odorless mineral spirits. Don't buy it there. It's not the same. This is made for art. This is made to be used inside. Odorless mineral spirits should be used outside. You know, the kind you get at the hardware store. But if you don't want to use this, this is a great substitute. This is called lavender spike oil. And this I got at Blick Art Supply. And this is, you know, it doesn't contain, it says no carcinogenic fumes, no petroleum, and no turpentine. So this is an all natural product and it works really nice, just like Gamsol. The reason I'm using my Gamsol is because I know a lot of you have Gamsol and I don't want to make you guys feel like you have to use something different. But when my Gamsol runs out, I think I'm going to stick to the lavender spike oil and I will be sharing that more with you. So, okay. So my blending stumps, I wanted to talk about these. I use Creative Mark blending stumps. They're a little bit different than some of the blending stumps out there on the market. They're not as tight. And when I say tight, you know, this is pressed paper pulp. And some of the ones that are made in China are very, very tight. And the problem with them is they don't absorb the Gamsol very well. So they don't really work as well. These are from Taiwan, a little bit different the way they make them. So look for Creative Mark if you can get them. Oh, I spilled my Gamsol onto my color chart here. So you can see I'm dipping this in. See how it's sucked up into the blending stump really quickly? Well, I think the difference between the Prismacolor blending pencil and the Gamsol is the Gamsol kind of like breaks down the wax and then it allows you to move it. And probably the Prismacolor pencil does something similar, but it doesn't seem to move as, it's not like a fluid. This makes it look more like watercolor when you use Gamsol. Okay, so I'm gonna go right on top of my pencil. And you can see how that's starting to move now. And I'm just doing a little circular motion till I get out to the edge. Now you see how light it is on the edge? Don't feel like you have to cover the whole thing. You want a lot of white space left on your flowers. You just don't want to, you know, have that harsh line between where the blue stopped and where the white, you know, the white begins. So this just softens that line is what that does. And it gives it a very watercolory look. It's a little different than watercolor though. It really is. I mean, it's a really special look and I really enjoy it. Christina, if you're still watching, please don't tell Kathy that I used Gamsol today. My friend Kathy Rakusin, she won't even be in the room if I use Gamsol. Like if we're at a crafting retreat and I pull my Gamsol out, she'll leave. I'm going to add a little bit of color to this part here. She'll leave the room and she'll say, just text me when you're done using the Gamsol. And the reason she hates it so much is, first of all, I guess if I could color as well as she does without it, I would. But I think the reason she hates it so much is she hates the squeaky feel of the paper stump on the paper. For her, it's like nails going down a chalkboard. So even though I don't let my blending stump dry that much to make a squeaky sound, if you get a squeaky sound, you need more Gamsol on your blending stump. It's like she just knows it's going to happen, so she has to leave the room. I think it's funny and I laugh. And I specifically use Gamsol whenever I'm with Kathy just to get a reaction. So that's the kind of friend I am. So if you've ever wanted to be friends, consider that I am that awful person. I really am. Okay, so I'm going right over that stitched look, and you can see how this is starting to blend out. Oh, welcome from sunny Spain, Wendy. It's great to see you. I love seeing everybody coming in from Europe, my European friends. I have some exciting news about my daughter. My daughter, Alicia, is going to go to school in Italy next fall. She's going to go back for more education, and she's going to go to Italy. And at first I was really upset because, I mean, I'm just like doing big circles over this because it's still going to leave a lot of white space. At first I was upset because Italy is so far away from where I am. But then I thought, well, she lived in New York for a long time, right? And that was still kind of far away from where I am. And if I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to go visit her, honestly, I love New York, but I've been there a lot. I've never been to Italy. So I get to visit my daughter in Italy. And how cool is that, right? So for all my Italian friends out there, my European friends, I might have to come visit you. So I'm just working this color out. So even though this is not like a, you know, amazing artist technique, you got to admit, it's looking pretty nice, right? Looking pretty good. Easy. Doesn't take any skill. I think where people make the mistake is they take their blending stump and they go on the white part and they start coloring and they're like, why isn't it moving? Because you have to actually go on the colored pencil to break down that wax and then move it upward toward the end of the petal. That's a big problem. And the other problem that people have is they just don't get their blending stump wet enough. They do the quick dip. They do the boop. That's not enough. You got to put the blending stump in there and let some of that Gamsol suck into the paper stump. Also, do not buy, now I'm gonna say it wrong. Tortillons? I don't know. But whatever that word is, they are different than blending stumps. And some companies try to pass them off as the same. They are not the same. They are rolled paper. They are not pressed paper. So if the word begins with a T, it's not the same thing. Although I think one of the websites actually calls blending stumps that, and that's very confusing. All right, add a little color on this one too. See, it's probably all backwards and not the way I should be seeing light. But again, I don't see light. I just see a really pretty flower. So there's my flower. Okay. So now, yeah, Alicia, I'm excited for her. She's been saving her money for years to be able to do this. So I'm really, really excited for her. Okay. She actually was going to go last year, and then she got accepted to Saatchi in Florence, and then they didn't do their program because of COVID. And they're not doing their program this year, so she's going to a different school. You're right, Heidi. I should start selling these blending stumps. I'm going to look into that because then it might be easier for you guys to find them. So now I'm using Parma Violet. Check. Oops, broke my point. And now I'm going to color these three flowers in violet just to add some bright, vibrant color. See what I'm doing here? Just close to the edge of the petal. These will color a lot quicker because they're, you know, more chunky flowers. They don't have so many little petals. All right, here we go. Yes, our camera is having problems. I'm really, really sorry about that. I did mention it at the beginning, but I know a lot of you are just joining us. Tom fixes it as fast as it happens, but we've got a bad connection on our camera. And we've tried everything. We've changed the cord. We've done a million different things. It's on its last leg, just like us. It's taking a cue from us, Tom. But we already bought a new camera. It's sitting right here looking at me, and we just have to get it up and running. And that's a scary thing. I don't know, for those of you who make YouTube videos or you've ever done lives or whatever, you know that any new piece of equipment in the mix is always scary. It never works the way it's supposed to work the first time. And it gives me a panic attack. Okay, so now I'm going to use a different blending stump here. This one is pretty saturated, so I'm just going to put that to the side. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And yeah, it goes out for a second, but it does come back in. That's right. Thank you so much, Noreen. Okay, so maybe this is even better. All right, I'm going to dip my blending stump in there and see how I'm giving it a chance to absorb some of that Gamsol. And now I'm going to work this color down to the bottom of each petal. Such an easy technique. All right. And it just, you know, if you're not good with like blending Copic markers, you're a little hesitant with watercolor, Gamsol gives you that blended look without the skill. I mean, I hate to deter anyone from growing their skills, and I think you definitely should all, you know, practice what you love. But if you're frustrated when you're crafting, that's no fun. And so I love these little path of least resistance types of techniques where it's something you can do really quickly. This is what I take with me when I go camping. I don't take Copic markers or I don't take watercolor. I really like my pencils and Gamsol. It's just real easy for me to do all the coloring, and then you could just do all the blending right at the end with the blending stumps. And I love the way that color just gets so nice and light at the edges. There we go. Okay. I love this color too. So now I'm going to add a little bit of orange inside those flowers. And this one is called Yellowed Orange. And I'm just going to add a little bit of yellowed orange. And then I'm not worried, I'm not looking for shading here. I'm just looking for smoothing with my blending stump. So I'm using the opposite side of that blending stump, and I'm just going to work that color out just to smooth the color. There we go. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do is the leaves. So I'm going to use some Kelly green for the leaves, and these won't take too long. And then we can start assembling this. I'm trying to read your comments. Linda's wondering too. What is Linda wondering? Linda, ask me the question again.
Can you write down the name of the stamp set?
Oh yeah, sure. I can do that. Let's get a pen. Stamp set. Stamp set is Heartfelt Bouquet.
And what paper are you using?
Paper? I'm using the Gina K Designs layering white cardstock. There we go. I think that's everything. And black onyx ink. Can you take the pencils on the way to Italy? Long plane trip. Yeah, I know, but I think I can. And colored pencils are great because there's no smell, right? I mean, I wouldn't take the Gamsol out. And I'm just going to color half this petal, and then I'm just going to blend it over to the other side.
Can you reuse the stumps?
Oh, yes. You can reuse the stumps until they're nubs, until they go down to nubs. And the way you clean them, let me show you that too, just so that you know. Here is a side that I haven't used. I have this little tool here. This is just sandpaper, but you don't have to go out and buy this tool. You could just use a nail file. And I think I have a nail file in here, so I'll show you. Here's a nail file that I got at Sally Beauty Supply, a nail file. And you just take the nail file and you file toward the point, and as you're filing, you turn the blending stump. So you're rotating the blending stump. And that files off the old color, and it keeps it to a nice sharp point. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just coloring it. It's hard to color around those stitched lines. So if you have any trouble, you know, just dig your pencil in there. And this technique kind of goes against everything that you've ever learned about colored pencils, because normally with colored pencils, you have a light-handed touch and you layer the colored pencil. You know, you don't want to kind of burnish it so that it gets that waxy look, because then you can't really blend it when you're using colored pencils. But when you're using Gamsol, you do want to lay down a lot of wax. So you are pressing a little bit harder and getting a lot of color there, because you're going to blend that all out with the Gamsol instead. It's going to just, break down the wax and allow it to be more of like liquid color. So if you haven't tried it, it's really fun to try. And if you are an artist and you really are good with colors and blending and all of that, you're going to love Gamsol, because you can do a lot of the blending and stuff the right way with Gamsol too. I mean, it's an artist product. We're not like using some bootleg product from some back alley that I bought somewhere. Okay, almost done these. These aren't going to take long. I'm going to add a second color to these just to make them brighter, and I'll show you what I'm going to do there. So you can see, like, I cut a lot of those extra ones that I didn't think I'd need, but you can still see some of them are sticking in here off to the side. So I did need some of them. So that's why I say just, do it on both pieces, the gray piece and the white piece, just in case, because you don't know where they're going to fall when you actually cut this out. Maybe if you've done this design already and you can see where it goes, then you don't have to stamp them, those extra little pieces on both parts. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'd have to kind of watch the beginning of the video to see how I laid all of this out. Okay, so now I've got my, let's do this one. We can't forget. Well, I would have seen it, or you guys would have told me. You wouldn't have let me flail, right? You got me, got my back. Okay, I think I got them all there. So now I'm going to use the last little blending stump side. Here, I'm back. Okay. All right. So if you use blending stumps too, you saw the way I used my my nail file first. The very first time you use a blending stump, you should do that to your blending stump before you even start. It'll just soften the stump and it makes it more receptive to sucking up the Gamsol. So that's one little hack that will make life easier. A lot of times people don't prep their blending stumps like that, and that really does help quite a bit. Okay, so you can see I'm leaving a little bit of white space in those bigger leaves because I'm going to go back in with another pencil. This is fun and it's relaxing. So if you are looking for something, this is one of those things that we talk about sometimes here on Stampin' Chat where, oh, I don't have any mojo and I don't know what to make. You can color these kinds of panels and just leave them in your little, your little box of bits and pieces so that when you are in the mood to make a card and you do have mojo, you've got some of these little bits and pieces ready to go. Look at what I missed down here. Okay, almost done. And I'll just show you how adding this next little color really makes a difference to making these leaves really stand out a little bit more. It's not that it makes them stand out, it makes them feel like they're glowing a little bit.
Can you color and then blend it later? Yes,
you can color and blend it later. Absolutely. And that's what I was kind of talking about where, like, let's say you take your kids to, the park and you don't want to carry Gamsol. You can just do all the coloring. And then when you get home, you can do the Gamsol part. Same with a plane. You don't want to be pulling Gamsol out on a plane. I don't think they would like that too much. But you could do all the coloring and then Gamsol later. All right, so my last color here is Sunburst Yellow. And I'm going to use a little bit of yellow here just in these leaves, just in the center. I'm just very lightly scribbling a little bit of yellow. And you can see how they're starting to look like they're glowing a little bit more. Just very light yellow. You can add a little bit on the one side of each leaf if you want, the lighter side. And that just adds a pretty little glow. And also plays off a little bit of the centers of those flowers. Okay. Couple more. And I'm not pressing very hard at all. I'm just letting the color basically just glide off the end of that pencil. But you should be able to see that. Is that showing up okay, Tom? You see a little bit of the yellow in there?
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, remember, for those of you that watch me on YouTube, I always post pictures of my cards here in my community tab. So if you go over to my channel, while you're there, if you'd like to subscribe and hit the notification bell, I would love that. That helps me, and that also makes sure that you never miss another video or another live. And if, while you're over there, click on the community tab. I always post full, high-quality photos of my finished cards. So this way, if you can't see so well, or maybe your internet connection isn't so good, you'll be able to see the cards really, really well. So if you were blending stumps, where would you be located in my stuff? That's a great question, Judy. I don't know. I have a hard enough time keeping track of myself. Okay, so, it's getting late. This has been a long video. Okay, so I'm going to adhere these two parts together. Let's back up a little bit because we're going to cut out our greeting. And we're going to make some magic here. Okay. So we're going to adhere these together. Yes, this is still my ThermoWeb tape, and I think I just ran out of tape. Oh my goodness, I better have another one close by. I better. Let's see in my drawer. Do I have any more? Seriously, I don't have tape in this house? How do I not have tape? All right, this is ridiculous. Well, we're going to do the best that we can with no tape. What am I going to do, Tom? Am I going to lick the card and hope it sticks?
Yes.
Yes?
Do you have another stash anywhere in the house?
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, all right. We'll make it work. We always have Connect glue. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to line this up on the gray piece. So let's find the spot.
Some Gorilla Glue.
Gorilla Glue? I don't want to use Gorilla Glue. So over here, you can see that leaf where I'm kind of lining it up. Here the same way. Now it's looking like it's continuing outside of that card. See that? Isn't that pretty? Yeah, I have to lick it. All right, here we go. A little Connect glue. That's what I'm going to use. A little Connect glue. You can see I don't need very much. Connect glue is really forgiving too. So if by chance you don't nail it the first time, you do have a little bit of room to move around. Okay, so let's see, where am I going? Line that one up and line that one up. And then everything else should be pretty close to lining up. Maybe not perfect. No, there we go. Okay, that looks better. Better. Got the top there. Is that right? That doesn't look right to me. Well, luckily with liquid glue, you have room to move. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to cut a panel. Let's see here. I'm going to cut a panel. Now that was 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm going to go 3 3/4 and then I'm going to go up 1/8 of an inch. You could cut this out with Master Layouts 1. And then it's 5 inches and I'm going to go up 1/8 of an inch. So that's my little cheat for cutting those 1/8 inches. Just go to the same measurement and just go up one little tick onto your paper cutter. Okay, that's looking good. So let's Connect glue it. Connect. You can see I'm not using much at all. A lot of people, they'll say, well, I used glue and, you know, my paper looked warpy. I don't use that much glue. You don't need that much. This is very, very sticky glue. You only need a thin amount and your cardstock shouldn't warp when you use it. I never use glue. I always use tape, but it's kind of fun, actually. Okay, help me out, guys. Should I use a lovely lilac card base? There's A. Oh, I love this. Tom, I love your gray idea. That was really, really brilliant, actually. Really brilliant. Or should we use Ocean Mist?
Going gray is so much fun.
Going gray? It's not going gray. It's what is it called? What kind of gray? Soft stone, yeah. Going gray was a Stampin' Up! Color. We don't have that. We've got lots of grays in our collection. Here, this little piece here is bothering me. So which do you like? Ooh, look at all the lilacs. Everybody likes the lilac. Okay. All right, we'll do the lilac. Okay, yeah, the more glue holders are on the way, for sure. Okay, so a little connect glue back here. We're going with the lilac. Almost everybody said lilac, but some of you said Ocean Mist. So I'll show you the other card that I made where I didn't use Tom's gray idea, and we'll put that one on Ocean Mist so you can see. Okay, so there we go. There is that lilac. Now let me find the Ocean Mist. Now here's the first card that I made, and I already stuck a greeting on here. But I did it with white, so you can see what the white looks like. So that's a whole other option. But I think the gray, I think Tom nailed it with the gray because it just makes that panel glow, but it still all lines up. So it's very cool. Okay, so we're gonna make this little piece right here real quick. We're gonna go over, but that's okay. I had somebody leave a comment the other day and said, could you please hurry up on your lives and get them done in 15 minutes? They take too long. And I thought, no, I can't do that. I need to be with my people longer. I can't. I won't. I will not. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick a greeting. So what do you think? I want to use a friend as my big thing. So friend, hello, sweet friend. How about friend? Tomorrow is a new day, or I've been thinking about you. Which one you think? I like tomorrow is a new day, or it's been too long. Let's do that one. Friend, it's been too long, because we're all feeling that right now, right? It's definitely been too long since we've been able to hang out with our friends. So I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs embossing and watermark ink. I used a little bit of the embossing magic pad over the surface of my card, and I'm going to ink this up. Yeah, I like it's been too long too. Okay, let me get that on there. And then I'm going to take some of my Gina K Designs Fine Detail White Embossing Powder. I did get a notification that the manufacturer has received our order for this because I know that we've been waiting for this to come back in stock. And usually it doesn't take super long to get it. So I'm hoping that it comes relatively soon. Now, if you have any where you don't want it, now is the right time to get rid of it. Just get a little paintbrush and just get rid of what you don't want. It's better to do it now than trying to use the mono sand eraser later to get it off. Just remove it before you heat emboss it. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to heat this up using my heat tool. Can you use this technique on vellum? You know, I think you probably can if you used alcohol markers or something like that. You could use the Inset Coloring Technique. I don't know that Colored Pencils works on vellum. I don't want to say it doesn't though, because I honestly have never tried it. So if you try it, I would love you to share your card in our Facebook group and tag me so I can see it, or share it on Instagram and tag me at Gina K Designs. I definitely want to see it if you do it. So that would be awesome. All right, let's cut this out with a flag die. I'm going to use one of the flag dies from Master Layouts 3. That's the one that has the most flags in it, and we can definitely find one that fits. this. So let's just spill these out. I keep mine in stencil pockets. It just makes it easy to keep them all together. That would work. Here's a smaller one. That would work too, but I kind of feel like I want the extra edges. So I don't think it's wrong to use a flag die that's a little bit bigger than you actually need it to be. I think it just gives a little bit more interest in the card. Okay, here, let's see. This is a fun technique. I hope you guys try this, and I hope you'll check out Kathy Rakusen's coloring challenge too. There's no pressure. You can jump in and out of it. You don't have to do it every day for the 10 days, but it just kind of gives you that, like, you know what, I'm going to do it, and then share whatever you're working on. It doesn't have to be a full card. It can just be a little panel that you're working on, and tag her. And the way you tag her is, I believe she uses the hashtag #TheDailyMarker30Day. But if you go to her Instagram, Kathy Rack, you'll find all the information. Okay, so we have that. Now, I already made, because I know it's getting late and the time is flying by, I already pre-made a greeting. Actually, I pulled it out of my little box of pre-made things. That's what's so lovely about having that. And what I did was I used the friend die and the friend shadow die. This die set is from our Stitched Leaves die set. So I have a stamp set called Stitched Leaves, and then I have a coordinating die set. And it's got a thankful and shadow and a friend and shadow die in this collection. So I cut those out, and then I added a little black rhinestone to dot the eye for a little sparkle. And we'll go ahead and put this together. So I'm going to use some black foam squares for this. Now, although this is very skinny, you can still use the black foam squares. We also have black foam tape, but if all you have are the squares, what I would do is I would get 2 of them, and I would take a pair of your sticky scissors, the one you use for your sticky stuff. Ooh, mine are, there we go. And just cut them down the center like that. Then you can put them along this, wherever you want them. I'm just going to use 3. That's plenty. Okay. Let me pull off the release paper. Somebody told me that's what it was called in my last video, and I'm forever grateful. So we will pop that right down here. Now we could put it here, but I think we'll put it here. And I know this covers a little bit of the flower, but I think it's okay. So I will use my Connect glue to add this to my card. Ooh, that was a lot of glue. I didn't need that much.
Any idea of the next release when?
Our next release we have planned for April 26th. And I have a very, very cool bundle coming out, which I can't wait to share with all of you. And we have some beautiful stamp sets by our illustrators coming out as well. So there we go. We'll just pop that right on there. Friend. It's been too long. And there is my finished card. So I hope you guys like that. If you don't want to use the friend and you don't want to, suck up as much real estate over that flower, you can just have a very simple greeting like this. Tomorrow is a new day. Very encouraging. So there are my 2 cards. And I have a little quote for you, which I got to find here because I pulled it aside. Okay. All right, so I'm back. Thank you for being patient with our camera situation today. I know that wasn't super fun, but we are working on that. So let's see. So I talk a lot about not being an expert colorist, but I practice, and I feel like I'm doing a little bit better than I used to. And I know a lot of you are out there. Some of you are brand new card makers. Some of you, this quote has nothing to do with card making too. It could be for anything that you're working on and you're trying to better yourself where you're trying to better yourself. So the quote is, allow yourself to be proud of yourself and all the progress you've made, especially the progress no one else has seen. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this lunchtime Stampin' Chat Live. I'll be back on Monday night with another fun stamping technique video for you. I hope you guys have a great weekend. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.